Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on!
Live from Goa. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host, senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, but who is live in Mayapur, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to our daily study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We try to keep it daily as best we can. Good to see you, Kaustubha. You had a good day today. I tried to reach you all day. You were not returning my WhatsApp messages.
I'm sorry. I was busy.
Yeah,
I was busy. I had some great conversations with some great souls, some great people today. I
really?
I bathed in the Ganga.
Did you?
And I had a really wonderful time in the Ganga just chanting japa.
Really?
And I was feeling just wonderful and blessed to be there. And when I got out, Jiva was sitting there on the bank of the Ganga. Jiva G, life coach.
Oh, that's one of her favorite spots.
Well, and we spoke, and I'll tell you something, Raghunath. The work that she's doing,
it's the second day in a row we're having a Jiva G Appreciation Day.
Yeah, well, it's just I'm just speaking from my heart. She is, in one sense, relatively new to Bhakti, but she's very well experienced in the 12 steps and the spiritual path that is.
Well, and not only that. You can't say that to her. She'll blow her top. She'll be like, you call yourself into Bhakti. I've been into Bhakti this whole time. Well, because, she
doesn't do that with me.
She does with me, man. We have wrestling matches over it. Well, she's on a spiritual path, and it requires lots of
that's the point that I'm making. That
there's a deep,
genuine spiritual path all along.
Yeah.
But coming into the Bhakti community, the broader Bhakti community, she's relatively new to it. But right off the bat, she's got really important services going into some of the darkest corners of it.
Sure.
And I think helping in ways that others can't. And I really admire her for taking on that service.
Me too.
It's really something. It's really something.
If you haven't checked out the Bhakti Recovery podcast, please download it and follow them now.
To be an instrument of healing in places where there are deep wounds is a really special offering, and she's doing that, and I can see that.
For sure. She cuts through all the superficial right away, and I think that's what that whole 12-step program is. It's okay to be dented. It gives permission to be a little dented, a little broken. And in that vulnerability,
that's there for sure. But I'm also thinking sometimes when you've been scarred, then you bear deep resentments. Although those are deep resentments, in one sense, there's a justification, and then you hold on to that tight and you build an identity around that, and it's actually what's preventing you from healing. And to be able to step in there and work with someone on that level and get to the deepest levels of honesty and progressive thought, that is a great service, and I don't think too many people are adept at it. Yes.
these 12-step people who are dedicated to that program, they have a depth of understanding and of character.
Yeah.
And the first time I came into contact with it, which was about 25 years ago, I started to, in reading some of the books, I realized like, wow, this could be so useful in bhakti.
No, it's
And
not.
at the same time, I thought bhakti can be so useful in their community as
Yes.
well. They go perfectly
Yeah.
hand in hand.
Yeah, like she was explaining to me how with some people who were even born into the bhakti path, but then they had their what word should I use? Their sometimes they've been abused, um or other types of tragedies, and
Traumas.
they reach a point where they have to start from scratch. Even if they're
Mm,
born into this and live with it, they it kind of whatever they've been through may cloud the way that they see even this pure path of bhakti, right? This pure spiritual path is the way that they view it is seen through this lens of trauma and so on.
mm,
And they have to kind of go back and say, is this even my faith?
mm,
And then if they do, and they come back out and they say, yes, this is my faith.
mm,
Now they can actually approach it with an open heart, without that lens, kind of a lens of resentment, a lens of pain, of so many things. And you have to, if you're going to progress on this path, you have to embrace it with faith, faith in so many principles and ideas. And in order
12,
to do that wholeheartedly, you have to approach it fresh again, and to take someone through that path, that's really something.
there was a person I'm friends with who's been active in recovery for a long time, and he stepped away from recovery because he started finding fault with recovery. He started saying, the problem is there's so much dogma in these meetings, and there's so much,
Ooh,
the same things that go on with any institution almost.
yeah,
But then in the process of stepping away from it for 2 years, he realized, you know what? With all its problems, I miss its community. And
sure.
that's another thing. Whenever there is an organization or a group of people coming together, you get caught up in the same things. You get caught up in the dogma. You get caught up in superficials. You get caught up in the presentation. You get caught up in a outward appearance and an inward, maybe some type of duplicity that's going on. And
All right.
so, but if you say, you know what, I'm sick of these devotees, or I'm sick of this community, and you step away from it, it's hard to do things on your own. Communities are powerful
Yeah.
so there always will be a tension between the problems with an institution, the problems with our local community, the problems with there will be that tension, because on our own, we are like, we struggle. We're like a twig. We're easily breakable. And I've been through times in my own life too, where I'm like, I'm a full-on Hare Krishna. And then I've been times where like, I want nothing to do with these Hare Krishna people. And I'm going to rediscover my identity separate than that. And then I
And
just
then you
get to this
came
point where
back.
like, you know what? I crazy. Yeah, yes. Because everybody, because we are community seeking people. We like people. We get lonely. And so then you're going
And
to
I
have to
think,
find a new community.
I think it's not only that I just need a community, but it's that this community is onto something. Even if they don't do it perfectly, they're really onto something,
Yeah.
and I benefit from that.
Yeah. And you got to, and it's true though, you do have to hand select the people you want close to you.
Sure.
You hand select them. You can't have the gate wide open, because, it's like any other community. Anybody could walk in that circle.
Yeah.
And
And
then you
then you
find some
respect the
crazy guy
rest.
that walks in the circle, and all of a sudden, like, oh, these Hare Krishnas are crazy. Well, it's part of, you go to the mall and draw a circle around a bunch of people in the mall. You're going to
There's gonna
find
be
some
some
incredible
crazies.
people, interesting people, a handful of crazy people. You're going to find a criminal that's escaped or something, whatever. That's just part of any group
The
of
numbers
people.
game.
That's the numbers game.
Yeah, right.
That's the numbers game. And they're out there, man. Creeps are out there.
Okay. creeps are out there. Mara, that's our first
That's your
takeaway for
first
today.
takeaway. And there's great. I mean, I've met the coolest people ever hanging out in the temple. Just
No
because the
doubt.
type of people that get attracted to go to a American Hare Krishna temple, which are like, especially when we joined, where they're like falling apart and broken and like no infrastructure. The type of people that show up there, you're going to get the coolest people in the world, and you're going to get the craziest people in the world. And we've
Well,
met them all.
I said, you said I didn't respond to your text today, and I said I was busy talking with people, and
Yeah.
one was Jiva, and then later I spent hours with Vasudev, who's a real Brahmin from the Bhakti Center, right? A real pundit. He's been for 6
Where's he
years.
from?
He's been,
Holland?
yeah, yep,
Hmm.
and but he lives in New York City for maybe the past 13 years or so. A steady person at the Bhakti Center, steady.
Steady's good. Steady's good.
And deeply Brahminical. He's been working on a translation of the Katha Upanishad for 6 years,
Really?
and taking it very seriously, and a translation and a commentary on it. And I've been having some really, I've just been, like I think I mentioned on the show earlier, I haven't been writing these past couple weeks, but I've been researching and studying.
Oh, have you been? Okay.
Yes, I have. And I haven't just been hanging out on the beach and saying
No,
I'm writing a
you're
book.
Staying
Okay,
on the
That's not what
Ganga,
I've been
chatting
doing.
it up with friends, going to get
Okay.
pizza at that pizza place in Mayapur,
I
at the
did that
Madhu
one
Cafe,
day.
at the Madhu Cafe there.
Not the Madhu Cafe, the 7 Grade.
7 grains. Okay.
But we spoke for hours, and all that I've been studying, and I've been studying and discovering new things and been excited about it and deepening my understanding in certain areas. And he was a person just could step right into it and just run with it and add to it. And he's a walking, he's like a walking Shastra himself, and it was wonderful sangha, wonderful association to hear his thoughts and clarify my own thoughts by sharing together. I love that kind of stuff, and that's what you get in a community like this, right? You're going to get some crazy, and you get some real jewels,
You get some real
and even the people that you can't relate with so well, maybe someone else relates with them really well, and that's great. I'll respect
let them find their own.
Fine. Yeah,
You
go ahead
guys
and
are
find-
good away from me.
a little bit
You're
further
really
away,
good
just a little bit further.
Now you two hang out.
Yeah.
But we do have good people in our life. I say that on a regular
Definitely
basis,
do.
don't I, Mara? We have good people in our life. I will
We
say
do.
that.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. We didn't even make any.
Speaking of good people in our lives,
announcements,
why don't we check in with Mara here for
Hey,
announcements?
Miss Mara.
Hi. Speaking of all this back to recovery stuff, we have back to recovery group meetings at 1 and 9:30 p.m. Eastern time,
Okay. That's it.
and no show on.
Saturday.
Shout out to Wisdom of the Sages going to Italy. If you want to join us, we are going to Italy.
That's not a
to
shout
Wisdom
out.
of the
That's just an advertisement.
That's an advertisement.
Yeah. It's not a
June
shout
11th
out.
through 18th. It's a shout out to Italy and my Italian people.
Italy itself. Okay.
Shout out to the country of Italy. Yeah. Looking forward to it. It's kid friendly. A lot of kids coming.
To the people of Italy. Love those people.
Yeah. Anyway, looking forward. Wisdomofthesages.com. Okay. Let's get into some
Who's
good
the nugget
stuff,
from
sir.
today?
The nugget is from one of my favorites and yours. You might have heard of him. His name is Jesus.
Yes.
Jesus. He's from Tijuana.
Jesus.
Just kidding.
No.
It's Jesus. He's from
It's from
Nazareth.
Jesus. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, superstar.
I knew you'd go there. I knew you'd go there.
How could I
That's
not?
just a
I
test.
learned the Bible from Jesus Christ Superstar. That's how I learned all about my love for Jesus.
I only said that just to put it out as a test to see if you'd go there, and you went right there.
Well, you know what?
Snap to it like a
Je-
magnet.
Jesus Christ. I tell people all the time, you want to learn about the Bible? Jesus Christ Superstar and God's spell. That's all you need to know.
All right.
Okay. At least the New Testament. Okay. Here's the nugget this is from Matthew. Right. Matthew is one of
5:44 to be exact.
Thank you, Kaustubha. By the way, it's Matthew, Mark, and Luke who actually hung with Jesus. We have some big Jesus followers on the show.
Well,
here.
there were 3 of the 12 apostles.
Yeah, but some of them never met Jesus, my friend. Some of the books in the New Testament.
Some of them, or just Paul.
Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Matthew, Mark, and Luke met Jesus.
Well, all the 4 gospels.
Bernadette Fortuna is losing her
John.
mind right now. Put it on the message board for Bernadette. She's a big Jesus fan. But put it on the message board.
What about John? John never met Jesus?
John, he says John.
Like John 3:16, he never met Jesus?
I don't know. Bernadette, what do you think? He met Jesus too?
Come on, man. Well, who was at the Last Supper?
Anyway.
Who do you think those people were?
I don't
It was a long table. I mean, you didn't necessarily meet him.
Jesus was at the other end of the table, Mara said. Okay, listen, I'm going to read this nugget. You guys hear me out. But Paul never met Jesus. Yes.
But he's not one of the 12 apostles.
No, but he wrote some of the books in the New Testament. That's my point. That's my point. It's Matthew, Mark, and Luke. They're the ones that actually wrote the books in the New Testament.
What about John?
John met Jesus?
He's one of the 12 apostles. He's sitting at the table. Sitting at the table.
All right. I stand corrected. John also met Jesus. Can we go on with this, please?
Let's start with it. Yeah.
But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. This is a big one. That's the big one right there. This is the one that really caught me. This is the one that really dragged my heart into Jesus. This is what makes me a Jesus follower. Love your enemies, and because it's right. It's so anti what you want to do.
Just 1 second. Are you saying that at a certain point in your life you read this verse and you felt some calling to Jesus?
Yeah.
When? How old are you?
I was in like 19.
Okay, so you're like in the hardcore.
When I was in my Christian club, and I was in a Christian club in college.
And it was this verse in particular that got you going.
Yeah, all these ones. Love your enemies. Forgive those. The one. How many times should you forgive? 7 times? No, 70 times. That one. Okay.
All right. Here,
let's do Jesus week this week.
Well, we're already halfway through the week.
To be good, especially the exorcism quotes. Okay.
No, we're not going there. We're gonna now go ahead.
But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be the sons of your Father, who is in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust.
Interesting.
I like this. It's like God's in charge of the karma. We say Yamaraj is, but it's you don't have to be in charge of someone else's karma. Right? All you have to do is you have to manage your heart, right? Yeah. And so it's very easy to go on an autopilot of you've done A, I hate you. But what we're doing here is we're moving sort of like with the punch. We're moving, we're not punching back. We're not forcing our force against their force. We're moving with it, moving with the wind, not getting blown by the wind. And so when we're getting attacked, we're not attacking back. We're starting to learn. And not only that, we're seeing God's hand in those so-called enemies, those people who are coming against us, and realizing like, oh, I get it. This is for me. This is for me to challenge my ego. And my ego is what has been keeping me imprisoned in this world. No people are keeping me in prison. No one can put me in prison. That's just this is just some external world. You want to throw me in solitary confinement? There is no jailer that can hold me down. The only jailer is my own mind and heart. If I can conquer my mind and heart, you can do anything with me. Mr. Kaustubha.
Thank you. But hey, I that's great, Raghunath. And I'm looking at something just occurred to me that, when they say, Jesus is the Son of God. You there?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you froze up on me.
No, I'm just thinking deeply. There's a difference.
The chat board.
I was thinking about that too.
Okay. But here he's saying that we all can be sons of the Father, right?
Mm.
He's not saying like I'm the only one. He's saying
this is where you're going to go with this.
well,
Okay.
I want to go somewhere else with it, but what I liked about it was, we talk about some couple weeks ago, we talked about the principle of ahimsa.
Yeah.
And we said that there's this benediction comes when one fully lives out the niyama of ahimsa, and that
Right. What's
has
the
to do
benediction
with
again?
is that within your arena, that no harm can be done, others don't do harm to others, and so on.
Sure.
So you kind of radiate a certain cone of peace, like a cone of
Cone of
silence.
silence.
You kind of have a cone of peace.
Me and you, we've lived the same life, haven't we? I
Yes,
know
we
the
have.
thoughts you think. Okay.
And so here he's saying that if you want to be a son of your Father, it's not just claiming that identity. You're
Sure.
it's not through claiming allegiance to, like, I accept Jesus, therefore I'm the son of the Father. No,
Right.
he's saying your heart has to change, and how you respond to other people has to evolve for you to be understood, connected in that way. And so, like, when we spoke about that that cone of peace, we said that that I gave an example of how I saw how Radha Swami, who I believe deeply embodies that, how someone who was like being aggressive towards me, they had to withdraw that in his presence.
Mm.
Right? If they were,
Interesting. Yeah.
because they identified themselves as his follower. And so in
Right.
order to be his follower, they had to live as he lives.
Sure.
Respond to others as he responds. So Jesus is saying that kind of thing here too. If you want to be a son of your Father for real, a son of God for real, then you have to love your enemies because he loves them.
Mm.
So you have to align your heart with his heart, and you have to love them as well, even if they are quote unquote your enemies.
You can't show up to the great Vaishnavas and start complaining about
Exactly.
other Vaishnavas.
Exactly.
They don't want to hear it. They're not there.
Yeah.
Great souls are not there to commiserate with you against another Vaishnava. They're made
Exactly.
they're there to sort of have you step back from it and see how you can react to the situation, how you can see God's hand in what's happening. Not to say, yeah, you've been wronged. I'm going to tell that guy off. I'm glad you told me this little piece of dirt. Now I'm going to do justice to this person.
Yeah. And so Jesus, when he's speaking this, he's not just saying do it because it's right or do it because you're going to go to hell if you don't. He's saying if you want to be the sons of your Father, if you want to be aligned with him, aligned in your heart with him, not just allegiance, spoken allegiance, but aligned in heart, then you have to have a heart like his. And he shines his sun on the evil and the good. He sends rain on the just and the unjust. You have to do the same.
You know what,
Love it.
Kaustubha? You know what? I'm
Yeah.
going to
Become a Christian again.
no, well, Dad, I am a Christian.
I am a Christian. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I am a Christian.
Okay.
No, I'm going to give a shout out to Radha Swami. Is there a book called Life with the Perfect Master? Who wrote that?
I believe Borijan Prabhu wrote.
Life with the Perfect, or
No.
it could be some
His was
yoga
similar
book,
to that.
some yoga book. It could be
Or
some
maybe
yoga book.
Sasrup Maharaj wrote it.
Life with the
There's
Perfect
the Life
Master.
with the Himalayan Masters. I think that was
Life with the Himalayan Master.
Swami Rama.
Oh, Swami Rama. No, the Life of the Perfect Master. Maybe it's anyway. I'm going to take that title and redo a book called Radha Swami. I feel like he so teaches you and I by example.
Oh, yeah.
Because we see him go through different things and different people come up to him and dump stuff on him. And I just to watch the way and I go to him with issues and things and excitement. And I just watch the way he deals with it. And I was just like, okay, lesson there. Lesson. It's amazing how he can instruct with saying so little.
It's true.
Vaishnavas are powerful like that.
They are.
And we need to get great Vaishnavas in our life, and we need to find out how to serve them. And we need to be serious about serve. Just like you started this whole conversation with Jiva, she really and this is an important one. We really need to figure out what our contribution in bhakti is, because that contribution is going to be our heart and soul. It's going to be the reason why we wake up in the morning, and it will keep us going when times are tough. We need to feel like what our contribution is, and it will give us the mercy of the great souls. And that's how we make advancement in bhakti. We get the blessings of the devotees.
Nice, Raghunath. Thank you. This is refreshing.
Well, that's what happens here in Goa. You become realized.
All right.
I can help you.
Thank you. Thank you. Why don't you help
Okay,
me
let's
by
get this Srimad
chanting
Bhagavatam,
our
sir.
mantras here. Yeah.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam dirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasudeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati tamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in class in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Madatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4, Text 41.
All right, there's just a few verses left in 46 it goes up to. So.
It feels so good to have a good internet connection today.
Oh, don't. First of all, calm down. Second of all, don't test faith there. Fate.
By the way, there's 3 brothers who run this cafe that we're staying with, and they're like become my best friends. There's 3 Indian Rajputs.
Every time I walk away from Raghu, they all like run over to him and are like eagerly awaiting any opportunity to talk to him. It's really
they want
cute.
your wisdom, Raghunath.
They're great. They're great guys. They're very sweet. We do a Shiva puja in the temple in the restaurant every day.
Oh.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Okay.
Yeah, are you getting bug bitten there? You're scratching.
You know what? I scratch a lot.
Okay. And you got I just want to mention you got your deep scoop neck thing back, the deep V.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you for letting all the people who are on Apple Podcasts know that. Okay. Sometimes feeling the touch of the Lord's lotus hands, he became spiritually jubilant and remained silent, his hair standing on end and tears gliding down from his half-closed eyes because of his love for the Lord.
Okay, so we're hearing about Prahlad, little boy Prahlad.
Little boy Prahlad is
deep spiritual ecstasies that he's experiencing.
Because of his association with perfect, unalloyed devotees who had nothing to do with anything material, Prahlad Maharaj constantly engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet.
Good song.
By seeing his bodily features when he was in perfect ecstasy, persons very poor in spiritual understanding became purified. In other words, Prahlad Maharaj bestowed upon them transcendental bliss. Isn't that interesting? Whatever you see affects your consciousness. You see a great soul, that's going to affect just seeing a great soul. They say that, we read this prayer to the Yamuna Devi, right? Mary, you know what I'm talking about? As soon as just even thinking about Yamuna Devi purifies one. So thinking about great souls, seeing a picture of one, seeing someone in person, just hearing, sometimes people listen to lectures or tapes of the devotees chanting or kirtan by great souls, that affects our minds. In the same way, what is hanging in our house? What are the pictures that are hanging on our house? Guess what? We're taking all that in. They say that sinful people, seeing their face creates sin in your consciousness. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
I think maybe I've turned my camera off.
No, your sin purifies me. I feel clean when I see her.
Hey,
Whenever I see your smiling face.
No.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, you got to be careful what you're looking at on a regular basis. I had a baby picture of sweet baby Jesus on my wall with curly hair. That was one of the pictures hanging in my house. I see that every day. Every day I walk by that on my way to my bedroom. And that impression lasted in my face of sweet baby Jesus.
Nice. Did I ever tell you about the poster that was, I mean, this is a squirrel. Maybe I shouldn't do it,
Yeah, tell me.
but it's an interesting squirrel.
I have a postulate 44, which is whenever Kaustubha has a squirrel, let him say it.
Run with it.
Let that squirrel out
Run
of
with
the
the
cage.
squirrel. So you mentioned the poster or something, the picture that you had in your bedroom. Is that right?
Of
This picture of
Jesus?
Jesus?
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't put any Jesus pictures in my bedroom, but I did have a little.
It was in the
altar.
house.
It was in the house.
Okay. Radha Swami had a poster in his bedroom as a teenager that he used to meditate on.
Really?
He told me
What
this.
was it? What was it?
Well, I'll tell you how the story came about. Since
I wonder if
we're
it was
running
like
with
any
the
of my
squirrel.
posters in my room as a teenager. I had the Sex Pistols.
I had the Clash.
I had I had a Clash, Sex Pistols, and a X-Ray Specs poster in my room.
Which
when I was a
Clash
teenager.
one was it?
It was some live.
Did it have a
but-
big, all the different flags of the world behind them?
I can't remember, but I know the
It
Sex
might have been the
Pistols
same
one.
poster.
It was another
It might have been the
live.
same poster.
Wouldn't that
Okay.
be cool if we had the same poster? Go.
Yeah. So I was in the Govardhan Eco Village.
Yeah.
3 little kids were talking to Indrajumna Swami after a talk that he gave.
Okay.
And one of them had a unicorn t-shirt on.
Okay.
It was Damodar Priya's daughter,
Yeah.
Amalini Radha.
Amalini.
Little lovely little Amalini Radha, wonderful girl.
And she
and she
loves
was-
unicorns too.
Yeah, and she was how old at that time? Like maybe
She was little.
6, something like that. And and Indrajumna Swami said to her, "I want to tell you a secret about unicorns." He said, they really exist, but only very good devotees can see them. And then she turned around and came running at me, jumping. And they're like, he said they're true, they exist. Like she was really excited. And I told that to Radha Swami
Radha.
the next day.
Yeah.
And he said, well, do you know the story of the great unicorn? I forget, it was something unicorn. He had something. Do you know like the legend of the unicorn or something like that? I said, no, Maharaj, what was that? And he said, well, it's said that the unicorn is just like, this was some legend from somewhere. He told me what it was, but I don't remember. But he said, it's said like the unicorn is just like the most powerful animal because it's got all the power of a horse, but then it's got like this spike coming out of its head, So it's like, it's powerful and dangerous, It's like a very powerful creature.
It's like a rhinoceros-ish.
But yeah, but faster, and and he said, but it's said that
where are we going with the story, Kaustubha?
that I'm getting there. He said that there's only one type of person that can tame the unicorn:
It's a small child.
a small innocent girl,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
virgin girl, small innocent virgin girl. That's the legend, right?
Yeah.
Because and it's somehow the innocence of the girl tames the spirit of the unicorn. Such a powerful spirit, right? Such a raging, powerful spirit.
It's probably how you could tell who's a virgin.
Yes, just put a unicorn in front of them. And
Sorry.
and
Krishna.
that sends me on a second squirrel, Raghunath. I could tell
Don't.
you
All right. He's out of control today. I can't do this.
I could tell you the second squirrel.
There's
the
only
squirrel
room
within
for
the squirrel.
one squirrel guy.
No,
on
this
the
is a
show,
squirrel within a
Kaustubha.
squirrel.
People want to hear the Bhagavatam.
Okay,
I'm going to drag
I'll
you
just stick
back
with one
here.
squirrel.
I'm looking at
So
these
here's the
people on
point of the
message
squirrel.
board. Attila's there. Kylie Brown. Linda is.
They're all saying go for double
frustrated.
squirrel.
They're frustrated.
But I'm not going to do it. I'll stick with one squirrel. Here's the point. He said because of that, he used to have a poster of as a teenager, he had a poster of a unicorn in his bedroom, and he said, I used to meditate on the innocence of that girl that could tame the spirit of the unicorn. and try to
Oh,
understand it.
He was one of those nice people before he was.
I know, it's like most teenagers have Jimmy Page up on their thing, right?
I know.
Or
I was
Black
not
Sabbath or
nice.
something.
It took Krishna
it's
consciousness to make me nice, and I'm still working on it. I'm
okay.
still not as nice I'd like to be as I'd like to be. My children, they're much nicer than I was.
That was Radha Swami before he discovered Krishna consciousness. That's where his mind was at as a teenager, like trying to understand purity, trying to
Innocence.
understand innocence, meditating on it.
Okay.
That's that. Okay, that's my
Okay,
squirrel.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Good squirrel.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It was.
You should
Text
have seen
42.
if I would have went with the double squirrel. You could
I
have
don't
blown your
know.
mind.
You're not allowed double squirrels. That's just
Okay.
not in your repertoire, double squirrels. Because
I
of his
could have pulled it off.
association. After the show, you can squirrel me all you like. Okay. These
All right.
people need you. Okay.
Maybe at the end I'll do that squirrel when we're doing the.
I think the
goodbye.
best part of Wisdom of the Sages is when we wind down and it gets cut, and most people don't get to hear it, but if you stay on Zoom, you get to hear our ranting forever.
Yeah.
Because of his association with perfect. Remember, the best one was when my mom came on and she just went on for like 45
for
minutes.
an hour. Yeah.
Went for an hour longer. Because of his association with perfect unalloyed. We just read this. Text 43.
My dear King Yudhishthir, text 43.
The demon Hiranyakashipu tormented this exalted, fortunate devotee, although Prahlad was his own son.
Oh.
Maharaj Yudhishthir said, "O best of the saints among the demigods, O best of spiritual leaders, how did Hiranyakashipu give so much trouble to Prahlad Maharaj, the pure and exalted saint, although Prahlad was his own son? I wish to know about this subject from you. A father and a mother are always affectionate to their children. When the children are disobedient, the parents chastise them, not due to enmity, but only for the child's instruction and welfare. How did Hiranyakashipu, the father of Prahlad Maharaj, chastise such a noble son? That is what I'm eager to know." Maharaj Yudhishthir further inquired, "How is it possible for a father to be so violent toward an exalted son who is obedient, well-behaved, and respectful to his father? O Brahmana, O master, I have never heard of such a contradiction as an affectionate father's punishing his noble son with the intention of killing him. Kindly dissipate our doubts in this regard." Talk about a dysfunctional family, huh? Some of us have like issues with our parents.
Here, the parents had the issue.
No. Well, I'm saying some of us have issues with our parents, but I mean,
Here,
did
the
any of us
parent had
have
the issue.
Well, yes, I'm saying, but did anybody have a parent like Hiranyakashipu who's trying to kill him?
That's what I'm saying. Here's the parent that had the issue.
Yeah, it's the parent that had the issue because
Okay.
it's right. Okay, next chapter.
Chapter 5. Chapter 5.
Chapter 5. Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Text 1.
I'll tell you something about this chapter, though, Raghunath.
Tell me.
There are going to be 4 questions asked to Prahlad in this chapter. They're going to come from both Hiranyakashipu, his father, and they're going to come from his teachers. What are they? Sananda and Umarka? What is it? Sunda and Umarka?
Sunda and Umarka.
Yeah. And each time he gets asked a question, he comes through. It's kind of like speaking truth to power, but without any attitude. You know, he's going to answer in ways that are beyond the wisdom of children, generally. Right. And they're the answers are both weighty and pregnant in spiritual truth.
Oh, they're pregnant, yeah.
And they are kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like
ripe.
Not rebellious, but speaking in a way that that is contrary to the authorities in his life. He's speaking truth to authority.
Sure.
And speaking truth to power. So there's 4 times, and as we hit those questions, I'll point them out, and then each time we can see what he says, and each time it's really good. And it all relates to this friends and enemy idea kind of thinking.
Right. Okay. Let's dive in. Here's text 1. The great Saint Narada Muni said, so Narada is having a conversation with Yudhisthira, who's Arjuna's older brother, and they're narrating the story. The demons, headed by Hiranyakashipu, accepted Sukracharya as the priest for ritualistic ceremonies.
Yeah.
So Sukracharya is the guru of the demons. Mara, trivia question. Who is the guru of the demigods?
Brihaspati?
Oh,
Boom.
Mara is good.
Mara, boom, nailed it. Hit that out of the park.
Mara's like, put me on the hot seat. I'm ready. Like,
You know, there was a day where I used to
Mhm.
punk her on the hot seat, and I just can't do it anymore.
Nice.
Sukracharya's two sons. You know, I never knew they were his sons.
I didn't know that
this.
either, Raghunath.
That's a good little
slipped right
trivia.
past me.
Sukracharya's sons, Sunda and Amarka, lived near Hiranyakashipu's palace.
Okay.
Prahlad Maharaj was already educated in bhakti and devotional life. But when his father sent him to those two sons of Sukracharya to be educated, they accepted him at their school along with the other sons of the demons, the Asuras. Prahlad certainly heard and recited the topics of politics and economics taught by the teachers, but he understood that political philosophy involves considering someone end and someone else an enemy, and thus he did not like it.
Okay. Could you read that again? Because
This is
you
what the
froze up
news
just
is
a
made
bit.
of, right, Kaustubha?
Oh, it's all that nowadays.
It's like pick a side and now hate somebody.
You,
Hate the
you know
other
what it's
side.
like? And now because we get our news through YouTube algorithms and Instagram and Facebook algorithms,
Yeah.
it's always like this. Here's the YouTube video, right? So and so completely demolishes so and so.
Yeah. Yeah, demolishes. And you're like, yeah, demolish them.
And then they really don't. But
They don't
that
really
was just the
demolish
clickbait. You know, that was the
And it worked.
clickbait.
And it worked. I want someone to go down hard. It's
Yeah.
like we are begging to stay in the material world, aren't we? That is the beautiful thing about, you know what? This is great thing about Krishna consciousness is we want to be entertained. We want to rally behind something. Rally behind Krishna. Rally behind Krishna. There's great lectures on YouTube at our fingertips that are entertaining, that are funny, that are, you know, that are good stories. You know, that's why it's important.
And
That's
that
why
are uplifting.
uplifting, where you're not learning how to hate. Otherwise, these political things, you just learn to hate. And this is what Prahlad Maharaj said before America was even a country. Right?
I think you froze out just a second when you were reading it, but let's read this again. It said, but he understood that political philosophy involves considering someone a friend and someone else an enemy, and thus he did not like it. You want to read the commentary to this?
Yeah. So this is from text 3. What the heck?
You need me to do it?
Yeah, we just got
Okay.
frozen.
All right. Should I read? Should I start?
Yeah, you read. It's not
Okay.
working for me.
Here's the commentary. It's a short one. Politics involves accepting one group of men as enemies and another group as friends.
Boom.
Everything in politics is based on this philosophy, and the entire world, especially at present, is engrossed in it. I mean, more than ever, we're engrossed in it. The public is concerned with friendly countries and friendly groups, or enemy countries and enemy groups.
Yep.
But as stated in Bhagavad Gita, a learned person does not make distinctions between enemies and friends. Devotees, especially, bhakti yogis, especially, do not create friends and enemies. A devotee sees that every living being is part. Now, here's the point. It's not just sentimental, but it has to do with seeing the truth, right? So here's the truth. A devotee sees that every living being is part and parcel of Krishna, mamai vangsho jiva bhuta. Therefore, a devotee treats friends and enemies equally by trying to educate them both in Krishna consciousness. Of course, atheistic men do not follow the instructions of pure devotees, but instead consider a devotee their enemy. A devotee, however, never creates a situation of friendship and enmity. They don't create a situation of friendship and enmity. Although Prahlad Maharaj was obliged to hear the instructions of Sunda and Amarka, He did not like the philosophy of friends and enemies, which forms the basis of politics. He was not interested in this philosophy. So he's being trained to be a political leader in this school. And he's, from an early age, they're trying to instill in him a vision of, we have our allies and we have our enemies. And he can't relate to it. You know, this is kind of like the beginning of illusion. Like illusion begins with, identify with my body. That's like the first illusion. And it leads directly to the second illusion, which means I begin to see in terms of friends and enemies.
These are my people.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this theme here, you know, it's not like it's just some sentimental thing, but it has to do with, you know, we were talking yesterday about Brahman realization and Paramatma realization and Bhagavan realization, right? But this Brahman realization means I realize, I see. Other people see that's my enemy. But the Brahman realized person is like, I see it. I'm perceiving it. I'm feeling it for real. That there's an inherent spiritual equality on the level of the soul. There's an inherent oneness in all life. And knowing myself means knowing that there's a principle of the eternality of God inside me. And that same principle is what every other living being is made of. And so therefore, the false identities of friends and enemies, I can't see in that way the Brahman realized person. And that's Prahlad. Even though he's this little boy, he's received the blessings of Narada. It hasn't been revealed yet, but that in the womb of his mother, Narada visited. I mean, when he was in the womb of his mother, Narada visited and spoke to his mother, really to speak to him in the womb. And he was imbibing this deep spiritual realization.
Like it. All right, Miss
Text
Bear.
4.
Text 4. My dear King Yudhisthira, once upon a time, the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, took his son Prahlad on his lap and very affectionately inquired, my dear son, please let me know what you think is the best of all subjects you have studied from your teachers, right? So father hasn't seen
This
his
is
son. He
question
went to
number one.
school.
This
It's
is
question
the
number
first
one. He
question.
put his son on his lap, gave him a little hug, sniffed his head. Tell me, son, what have you learned in school? What's the best thing? What's your favorite subject? Here's Prahlad's response. Is he going to say math? Is he going to say, I like kickball and dodgeball? Is he going to say politics? Is he going to say, you know what? I just like gym.
He's so young, it really doesn't matter at this point, right? He's just a little boy.
He's just a little boy.
But
Best
they
of the
weren't expecting
Asuras.
this answer. You know.
Oh, best of the Asuras, king of the demons. I wonder if he said that. Did he say king
Sure.
of the demons?
Yeah,
Was
of
that
the
like
Asuras.
was that a compliment?
Yeah, I think so. You know, that was the
The
dynasty.
Asuras
and
are
he
a
was-
race, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was, what is this? Shipalaruva Cha. He called him Asura Varya. You know, the leader, the Varya of the Asuras.
Okay. Oh, best of the Asuras. As far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and a temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. So a lot of times we don't think of, you know, we in the West we talk about we think about it like a European well. It's got a stone circle that
You
are
always
up,
like this
up to
well
your
thing.
chest, right? But in India they have these just open pit wells, and then they dry
trip
up
over.
and they walk away from them and they get covered in grass, and then people trip and they fall in a well. We knew a person. I knew a guy who fell in a well. He was on Padayatra walking around and he fell in a well and he broke his legs.
So it happens.
It's a thing. And so they're using this analogy of those who are engrossed in material life. It's like falling in a well. You can't get out.
Down there. Yeah.
And if no one's around, they can't even hear you.
Yeah, sure.
It's horrible.
And so what Prahlad is saying to his father, indirectly, but kind of directly, he's saying,
Like you,
my dear father, you with your big palace and all of your opulences and your whole materialistic life, you don't realize it, but you're always in anxiety because of this. You're deep down in a dark well and you're stuck. And there's a way out, and I'm going to tell you the way out. And this is what he says if you continue.
Well, 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 you fell in a well. You ever heard that? Little Rascals.
No.
Well, 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 you fell in a well.
Are you going to read the
Okay.
rest? Or
Where are we,
or
Bear?
you-
Where? One should give up this position and go to the forest. The Van it says
Yeah.
more
Vaughn.
clearly, one should go to Vrindavan, where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and one should thus take shelter of the supreme personality of Godhead. You know, just
that
the other
was-
day, I was
That was a
saying how
slap in the
Maya,
face.
yeah, he's
Go ahead.
his father, who's like so anti that. But that's what I was saying about the other day being in Mayapur, how it's not like you're going to like Bali or you're going to Tulum, or you're not going on. And even though it is sort of tropical and there's nice food there, the Dham is a place where everybody's very God conscious. So when you go to Vrindavan, you go to Mayapur, it's like the heat is on. It's like people are on their A game, and if they're not, they're feeling it, and stuff comes to the surface. And this is what we need to step into if we want to get out of that well. We're all in a well where we're attracted to we're attracted and attached to the very things that are ruining our life.
To being in the well.
It's like being in the well. It's like, I love the well. The well's
I got
great.
broken legs, sitting down the
It's
bottom
good
of the well.
though. It's good down here. The very things that are causing us pain we're attached to. So we go to these holy places, and it's starkly, acutely different than our material existence. And that's why when people go home from a pilgrimage, it's like, wow, what just happened to me? We feel that juxtaposition. You know when you really feel that? Ever go to a Rath Yatra and you're like, this is great, Lord Jagannath and the Prashad, the devotees and the kirtan, and then you're like, wow, Washington Square Park, what a great place, or Venice Beach, what a place. And then you walk outside of the Rath Yatra circle, so to speak. You're like, where the hell am I? This is a horrid place. It's the Rath Yatra and the association of devotees that has made this place so wonderful and so special.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're done for today, Rolo.
Miss Mara's saying it's time. Well,
Yeah.
time flies when you're having fun
Sure
in
does.
in the circle of squirrels. And Miss Mara's got some very interesting McNuggets to take away. McNuggets.
Not
Ouch,
McNuggets.
that's
No,
gross. Sorry.
no.
Mac Nuggets.
Mac.
Creeps are out there.
The
Creeps are out there.
out there,
That's a
okay.
takeaway. There's creeps out there. Be careful. Don't let them in your house.
You heard it here first.
And you know who you are.
That'd be a good name for a
Hands-
song. Creeps are out there. I mean,
The
I would
creeps
listen to
come
that
out at
song.
night.
Yeah, I remember.
Hand
the
select
freaks,
the
not the
people you want
creeps.
close to you.
Wait, what?
All right. Hand select the people you want close to you.
Yeah,
Not
hand
the
select
creeps.
them. Not the creeps. Keep the creeps at an arm. Keep them at like a 12-foot pole distance. We just went through this whole thing of friends and enemies, right? Now we're
Yeah,
like,
right.
kill the
Get those creeps out of
creeps.
here. Stay away from me, creeps.
You don't have to be in charge of someone else's karma. Just manage your own heart.
Okay.
Yeah, don't be the administrator of someone else's karma. That's not your gig, most likely.
See God's hand in your enemies.
See God's hands in your enemies
Mm.
and how the enemies are treating you
Yeah, see how God's working, like to
through your
purify you.
enemies in your
Yeah.
life. Okay.
Jesus.
The only jailer is our own heart and mind.
Ooh, I like that. I like that, Mr. Kaustubha.
All right.
Great souls won't commiserate.
Yeah.
No.
In your lower modes, in your lower nature.
You're not going to drag down the great soul to your complaining.
Get the blessings of to advance.
The blessing of who?
Devotees.
Who?
Get the blessings of great devotees.
Okay.
This is I think you're gonna like this
Okay. Mork calling Orson.
Come in, Orson. Mara is kind of like
one.
Mindy.
Rally behind Krishna.
What? She is like Mindy, isn't
She
she?
is like Mindy, yeah.
Go back and watch Mork and Mindy.
And you are kind of like Mork. We got to
And you're
get you
like
some rainbow.
Orkin.
Get you some rainbow suspenders.
There's inherent spiritual quality in the soul level.
What? Say
Okay.
that again.
There's inherent spiritual equality at the soul level.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Tune into that.
A learned person does not make distinctions between enemies and friends.
No.
And
What was the one you said I'm gonna like?
rally behind Krishna.
Is that the last one?
No, that was.
Oh, rally behind Krishna. Yeah.
I like it, but then you got distracted from Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, he got into the Mindy
All right.
thing.
And
Run with the squirrel, Kaustubha.
Run.
if you see
That
a
was a good
squirrel,
squirrel.
let it free.
It was a
If
good
you see a
squirrel.
cave, if the squirrel falls in a well, let it free. Thanks everybody for joining us. Oh,
If
what
it
a
falls
day-
in
what
the
a
well,
wonderful
let it
day
free.
here.
What does that mean?
Try to
Oh, you mean like
assist
get it
to
out
get
of the well?
out.
Get it out of the well? So
Get it
can
out
be
of the
free?
well. Let it become free.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for joining us, and it is happening. Oh, Mara.
Little Karuna's asking
might
when
be
the next
pilgrimage.
sweet baby Krishna will be, Rogana. Will that be after you get back to the States?
It can't be here. Can't be here. It's gonna be when I get back. I've got such a crazy schedule when I get back. Prabhu. Hey everybody! I just gonna give shout out to India pilgrimage and Nepal pilgrimage is happening. When is it, Mara? October 17th through the 31st is India, and some people will stay on. They'll just hang out for a few days and then go to Nepal. And then we're taking that party to Nepal the 4th through the 16th. Go to raghunath.yoga if you're interested in that. If you want to go to India. And of course, we're going to be back at the Govardhan Eco Village next year with all tons of great offerings. I'm excited for that. I think we gotta put our little heads together. Get that
What
up on
now?
the Wisdom of the Sages website. Next year's wisdom training. We got a 300-hour. We have a 200-hour. Lori
Where?
Pag's going to be part of that team next year.
Who?
January 1st, we're started.
You're not even picking up on my John Travolta here.
I am.
My Vinny
I am.
Barbarino. Okay, you're just
I get it.
ignoring it.
I'm getting it. I'm just trying to make announcements here. I'm trying to be professional. And you're like scrolling off to welcome back Cotter. Let me be pro for a little bit. When I'm being pro, you should just let him go. Like let the squirrel go.
I don't know if it's being pro though. I don't know if that
Making announcements is pro.
is it necessarily.
Yeah, of course it is.
All right.